Hi guys, and welcome to Fix Savers. Today we're looking at self-propelled petrol lawnmowers and specifically how to change the drive belt if yours is broken. Let's have a look. So because we're going to be leaning the lawnmower backwards to get access to the underneath, these fuel caps tend to have a vapour release in them. So it's a good idea to grab yourself some plastic. Just put some plastic over the top as best as you can. And what that will do is that will help reduce the possibility of the fuel leaking when you lean it backwards. To make life easier for us and ensure we can push this down as far as we can to lift the front of the mower as far as we can, that's a good idea just to fold your handle forwards. Okay, so the position that we need this in to be working on is to get this in this position right here, and that's going to give us the access we need underneath. Now obviously this lawnmower is not going to naturally stay in this position, so what you ideally want, if you can, is to get a second person, because they are quite heavy depending on your engine size, things of that nature. To actually put their foot on this end and just keep that so it's safe for the other person to work under. So if you do have a second person, that's your ideal scenario. Otherwise you're going to have to find something very heavy, but you want to make sure that it's something that won't slip if you start to kind of wobble the lawnmower when you're undoing the components, etc. So make sure that it's solid, ideally with the second person if you've got one to hand. So the first thing we need to do is actually get the blade removed, so let's look at that now. So for the removal of your blade, this is a fairly typical setup. It can vary a little bit manufacturer to manufacturer, but yours should look pretty much identical to this. Now the main thing that's holding this blade in place, you see we've got this little round plate, and bang in the middle of it we have a big bolt. This is the bolt that we need to attack. Just to help us along the way, I've just cleaned it off. I'm just going to put a little bit of penetration fluid. You can use WD-40 or something like that. Sometimes it just helps to ease that off. So just got a couple of minutes just to soak in, and then we'll have a look at cracking this bolt out. So when you're turning this bolt, you'll notice that the whole blade is still free to move. And so you'll turn this bolt, and if it's on quite tight, obviously the whole blade will move. You can counter hold it whilst attacking it, but that's kind of the slightly more dangerous way of doing it. The easier way of doing it is to get yourself a block of scrap wood, to actually use the little mulching cut out on the side of the mower. You just jam a piece of wood in there, just find a position, like so, just there. And that's locked in there, it's against the floor. So now when I apply pressure onto the bolt here to remove it, the blade can't move. You should find that your blade is anti-clockwise, so just a standard turn to the left. You'll also want to remember which way on your blade went. So this is the downward face of it here. So you've got the blade number on the top of it. So just make a mental note of which side should be facing downward. So with the blade removed, you should be able to now see quite clearly you've got this kind of cover section in just here. See, it lifts that out there. That basically covers and protects the belt. If I have a look around the edges, you should find there's one just here. There's a couple of bolts, often with these little brackets that hold it in. Got one there and another one just there. There are other bolts, but as you can see, this is actually not related to this in any way, shape or form, whereas this has the bracket that's holding this on, likewise over to this side. So we need to get these two bolts removed just here. Again, the size of these bolts might vary manufacturer to manufacturer. Ours are a size 14. So next up we need to remove this plastic cover that protects the belt just here. You don't need to remove this metal plate in the centre, usually that stays in place. So you can usually manipulate the plastic cover. And then that whole thing can be removed. So with that cover out of the way, we can take a quick look at how this actually works. So we've got our one pulley just in here. Now our belt's snapped, so it's already been removed. Assuming you're replacing your belt, when you open this up, your belt will probably be snapped and you'll kind of have to pull it out of wherever it's kind of stuck. And this feeds between here, comes under that cover, and obviously comes down, and we have another one at the back here. And so your belt on a typical arrangement will literally sit between the top one just here and your bottom one just here. So you've got quite a lot of dirt that's built up in there. So I'm just going to get a screwdriver in there, just give this a bit of a clean out before we fit the new belt. So if you have a look at this little pulley just at the back here, you'll see that it's actually got a metal frame around it. Yours may well have this, and this metal frame is going to obviously prevent you from fitting the new belt. So what we need to do is get this metal frame removed. Now if you look underneath, you can just see this is the end of that metal frame there. You have a little Torx screw there. Likewise on the other side, just there, there's another screw there as well. So we need to slacken both those off so we can get that metal frame lifted off, and that will allow us the access we need to be able to get the new belt onto the pulley. So the little screw on this frame is a Torx size 20. With a little bit of manipulation, you can get that frame removed. Again, just remember which side this was fitted, because obviously it's different on different shape on one side to the other. So now grab your new belt. So to enable us to fit the belt, we need a little bit more space. So this unit, we want to be able to ensure that we can draw this forwards. However, if you look here, you'll see we've got the edge of a little spring, and that spring basically controls the tension on this moving forward. So if I push this backward, there we go. Let's just disengage this spring, just there, and then we push it forwards again, but don't let it hook onto the top there. And that would allow this to come forward more than it normally would. So that's the position that we need to be able to fit the belt. So first you want to put your new belt on the top, on the blade pulley here, and then you're going to stretch it around the bottom pulley like so. It'll be quite loose at the moment, but remember we've released the tension on this because we released the spring. So what we're going to do next, we're going to push that back up and get that spring back into a place, and that will put some tension on this belt. And you may find you can't push this back quite enough by hand to get that little spring hooked back over. If so, what you can do is you can go underneath here, get the top of the hook and just push it up so it pops over the top here. So you can see it can be a little bit fiddly to get this hook back over. Managed to hook a screwdriver in there. And I just got a hook tool as well, and then just kind of twisted it over the edge. But that's how you kind of get that in there. It's got to be hooked over the top. So this will keep the tension on this belt now, and stop this being able to come as far forward as it did, and the belt going too slack. So this will limit this coming forward. So that's why it's essential that you get this hook back on. So next we've got to get this bracket back into place. So again, some careful manipulation, some twists and turns, and we should be able to get that back into its original position. So I managed to get the bracket back into place. They're a little bit fiddly. You kind of got to manipulate them. Once it's back in the right place, get your two little screws fitted back in. So now we're going to refit our protective cover. They usually have little kind of plastic tabs dotted around the ends just here, so you want to make sure that they line up with the holes and everything around your belt down on this end. And once you're happy that these are in the right place, you want to refit these two little bolts with brackets. Very often you'll see this one's got like a little arm on it, and that's the arm that's actually going to sit into the hole. So it's going to be in that configuration there. So when you start to get tighter, just make sure your bracket's correctly lined up, and that little pin fits into the hole in the plastic shield. Just do that up nice and snug, and then obviously just repeat the process exactly the same on the other side, making sure that that pin is all correctly aligned. So to refit your blade, remembering which way it went round, this one's got a round slot on one side and a slightly oval slot on the other side. Offer that up, take our bolt and just get that finger tight, remembering that we'll be wanting to jam a piece of wood in here again to stop that blade turning when we get this nice and tight. Okay, so now we need to look at getting this nice and tight. So we've got our piece of wood jammed in there again. There we go. Get that nice and snug. So there we have it, guys. Your belt is now fully replaced and your blade is now reinstalled, so you're ready to fire this up and get mowing again. We've also resharpened this blade before reinstalling. If you need any help on that, if you want to do that yourself, it's always a good idea. We'll add a link for you to our blade sharpening video in the descriptive text below, so you can go down and check that out if you need to. If this video has been enjoyable or helpful for you, can you just do us a little favour in return? One click. Just hit that like button. If you could hit that subscribe button, it really does help our channel out. We really appreciate it, guys. We will see you again.